So hello and welcome to today's episode of the complete history of Bully. Today we're going to be going over the history of Bully Scholarship Edition, how it came to be and the reception it received. So let's get on with it. October 2006 comes and goes, Bully was finally completed. The game that took over 4 years to make was finally finished. The team were very proud of their work and they had very good reason to be. Their hard work and passion paid off. But of course, in the world of entertainment, work never really stops. You've always got to be working on something fans will love and bring the cash flowing into the company's wallet. So, very shortly after Bully was released for the PS2, the team at Rockstar Vancouver were quickly given their next game to make. This was not a sequel to Bully at all, but rather it would be a sequel to Max Payne, because they would be developing Max Payne 3, which would be released on Rockstar's brand new Rage engine, which was shown off at E3 2005 with the Wild West showcase, which would later become Red Dead Redemption. Anyway, Rockstar Vancouver were hoping to bring Max Payne 3 to its fullest potential, alongside the likes of the in-development GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption. Bully was done, the project was all wrapped up and the game was successfully on store shelves with very positive reception across the board. Now, even though Bully was a pretty successful release for Rockstar, amassing much better than expected sales, extremely positive reviews, there was one really major issue with Bully, and that was its release date. Bully released at a rather awkward time, as it was released just as the next generation of consoles had arrived, alongside the fact that Bully was a one console only release, as the Xbox port was canned and Bully was initially delayed by an entire year to begin with, and it's reported that Rockstar were concerned with the potential loss of sales. This wasn't at a time when Next Gen was just a fresh new release, but rather released a year after Next Gen had arrived, and it was at that time when people were slowly transitioning to the new, more exciting consoles, which would bring them the world of exciting new online play. So Rockstar Games had decided they would be releasing Bully on the next generation of consoles, and in order to make it worthwhile, it would essentially be a remaster by bringing in much higher quality textures to accommodate for the upcoming HD era. And this was also at a time where people were ditching standard definition for glorious crisp 720p images. Behind the scenes however, there was a bit of an issue going on, and most of it was down due to the game engine Bully used, because Rockstar recently stopped using the Renderware engine. Bully on PS2 used Renderware, the same engine as GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas and Manhunt used. However, while Bully was in development, EA bought out Renderware, and because of that, many developers who were using it had until the end of their current license to finish up any games and then find alternatives. Now, in Rockstar's case, they went ahead and made their own engine, which was the Rockstar Advanced Gaming Engine, which has been used in pretty much every single one of their titles since Rockstar Table Tennis. Well, excluding 3, Bully Scholarship Edition, Manhunt 2 and LA Noire. Now, Manhunt 2 was the last ever game Rockstar made for Renderware, and Rockstar really wanted to port Bully to this new generation of consoles. But there was a major problem. Bully was far too complete to port to their new gaming engine. Renderware had expired too, and the Rockstar Vancouver team were already hard at work on Max Payne 3. So it seemed like there were no other studios to work on this new Bully remaster. So Rockstar once again enlisted the help of an external studio, named Mad Dog Software, who would be dealing with this Bully remaster. Now, Mad Dog Software had quite a good history under their belts, namely being known for their work on some Star Trek games, the Empire Earth franchise, alongside working with the likes of Activision, Microsoft, Bethesda, and even the United States government. So, a temporary license for the GameBro engine was acquired, which is unknown how long this license lasted for, but it's assumed it was probably for a very short time. Licensing is very expensive, and since Bully was never planned to have any DLC or anything to keep it alive long term, there was no logical reason for Rockstar to ever really think of buying a long term license. So, on July 19th, 2007, Rockstar officially announced that Bully Scholarship Edition would be coming to the Xbox 360 and Nintendo Wii. Keep in mind the PC version was not announced here. Now, in the announcement, Rockstar stated both the Wii and Xbox 360 versions will retain the wit and deep gameplay of the previously released PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system, and will boast additional new content. Now, this new content would later be revealed in the form of 4 new classes, 8 new missions, some new characters and multiplayer in the form of minigames, well, for the 360 and Wii anyway. Now, just going to say that for this next part I'm not 100% sure if it's accurate or not, but anyway. One of the reasons why Bully was in development for Wii was for 3 reasons. 1, unlike the GameCube which only held 1.4 gigs of data, the Wii could hold either 4.7 or in some cases 8.5 gigabytes, as seen with the likes of Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Call of Duty Black Ops, which was more than enough for them to fit Bully on. Secondly, the Wii was insanely popular at this time. As any kid from the mid-2000s will tell you, the Wii was the coolest thing you could have at the time. It had something that appealed to everyone, from your grandparents who never played a game in their life to kids who just love games in general. So of course Rockstar Games wanted to get their own piece of this pie, and since Bully was not going to be as graphically demanding as the upcoming GTA 4, this was the perfect contender to put on the Wii. Thirdly, Buddy's style of gameplay would fit perfectly with the heavy motion control focus the Wii had. Since Buddy was very heavily focused on brawlers, and the Wii showed it could work well with that kind of style with, games like Wii Boxing. But of course, Rockstar did have to tweak this. Now, Buddy Scholarship Edition wasn't heard from ever again until January 2008, when Rockstar uploaded the official trailer which showed off these new and improved graphics. However, what people weren't expecting were these enhanced graphics were only available for the 360. The Wii port retained the PS2 graphics. Now, these new additions Rockstar added were a new strand of story missions that began a Christmas-based storyline at the beginning of Chapter 3 instead of the Johnny Vincent stuff, and the rest were just side missions. New classes included biology, maths, geography and music, and unlike the originals which gave Jimmy abilities and rewards for completing them, these only gave Jimmy some clothes, excluding geography, which as players progressed through did put collectibles on the map, making it much easier for players to 100% complete it. Now, these new additions were mostly welcomed with positive reception by the community, being glad the new additions didn't spoil the story too much and felt perfectly in tow with Buddy's theme. Although the new missions did receive some criticism due to how incomplete and buggy some of them were. For example, missions like the Collector, which only had Jimmy stealing 3 bikes and returning them, was compared to an errand that Jimmy would probably do in story mode anyway. Another addition that Scholarship Edition brought to the table was the addition of multiplayer for Wii and Xbox 360. However, to many fans' disappointment, this was neither like GTA 4's multiplayer, nor was it anything like co-op in GTA San Andreas. This was just unused minigames of classes from single player that had Jimmy playing against Gary. Now, these got very mixed reviews, with some saying it was basically fun for a quick piss about, and others saying it felt like some Mario Party ripoff. And this was absent from the PC version. Now, Buddy Scholarship Edition for the consoles was released on March 4th, 2008. However, upon release, Buddy Scholarship Edition got a mixture of both positive, but more critical reviews. The Wii port got the most positive reception, with most praise going to how Rockstar perfected the motion control style into Buddy, because many said it felt rather natural and didn't feel like a port, but rather felt like the game was made for the Wii in mind. But the Xbox 360 port, the reviews that were critical, weren't so much because of the new content, but rather because of the huge amount of problems that occurred upon its release. Players reported all kinds of horrendous issues that made the game completely unplayable. These include issues relating to inconsistent frame rates, random freezes, screens just blacking themselves out, only showing the HUD and nothing else to name some, crashing, and it got that bad to the point Sam Houser himself had to step in and issue a statement, where he said, "We have just become aware of the issues that people are having with Buddy Scholarship Edition on Xbox 360. It appears that some older 360s are experiencing frame rate issues, freezes and other problems. You have our word, we never experienced any of this in QA. In any of our offices at Microsoft, I am horrified we're now working around the clock to rectify these issues." And Sam also claimed that Rockstar were using Xbox 360 Elite consoles, not the regular 360. But of course, this didn't stop many people using it as a chance to make fun of the Xbox 360's infamous Red Ring of Death, with many memes and jokes circulating about how shit the 360 must be if it can't handle a PS2 game. So Rockstar promised a patch to Buddy would be coming a mere 6 days after Scholarship Edition's release, and they did release one, but it didn't fix much, as many players reported horribly chopped audio and graphical glitches again. Speaking of that, in general, a lot of the audio in Scholarship Edition was just horribly messed up, the most notable being Pinky's "Thanks for a Great Date" line, which became rather ear-rapey and has become a bit of a meme in the community, and the Candidates theme, which became really, really low quality. Here's a comparison of them both. All in all, basically, if you remember how the GTA trilogy from 2021 launched, it's near enough the exact same thing that happened to Buddy. Kinda weird how history repeats itself sometimes. So where's the PC version in all of this? Well, in classic Rockstar fashion, the PC port of Buddy wasn't announced until September 18th, 2008, where it was scheduled for an October 21st release on Steam and PC DVD. And much like the Xbox 360 version, PC itself was ripe with issues from day one. And the issues were much worse than the console counterpart, as initially if you had more than 2GB of RAM, Buddy would suffer horrible memory leaks. The world would constantly load in and out, and the best thing about this is once you spoke to Crabblesnitch in the first mission, the game would just go into completely endless loading. And considering the fact that PC gamers tend to have more powerful systems than the average user, you can kinda see why that was such a massive problem. Rockstar were absolutely horrified at the absolute state Bully Scholarship Edition launched in on both PC and 360, because they were nothing more than bug-filled messes and it really put a dent in Bully's reputation. On PC, Bully did get a patch to fix the memory leak issues, but it was just the one patch, and Rockstar never updated it again. Now fortunately, this was sufficient enough to keep Bully in a playable state on PC. Until 2015, where Microsoft released Windows 10 and Bully suffered the biggest game-breaking glitch to ever happen. It would crash randomly, with or without mods, admin rights or not. It would crash in some cases even 20 seconds once you load it up. And Rockstar, despite having countless pleas from the community, people who bought Bully and couldn't play it or whatnot, they never bothered updating it. According to Silent, who actually fixed this bug in 2018, the bug was very simple. It was just caused by a simple memory leak. Despite this, however, Bully Scholarship Edition on PC has seemingly gotten more and more negative attention over time. Pretty much every single negative review on Steam is just about how buggy the port is. There's barely any reviews that say they don't like Bully, it's all to do with the crashing. Now, another thing that occurred with Bully on PC that didn't come to light until many years later was data miners discovered that Bully on PC was absolutely chock full of cut content left in its files, even more so than the original PS2 version. Or hell, I guess you could say even more than the average game, because inside Bully Scholarship Edition's files there are a load of test scripts, a plethora of unused audio files, which tell us that near enough every single mission in the game was going to be much more fleshed out and longer, alongside the normal stuff like models and data files, and pretty much everything else you can think of like models, audio, scripts. Pretty much every kind of in-development file you could think of was just sitting there in Bully Scholarship Edition's files just waiting to be found. And even still to this very day, new things are still being data mined. Because of this, many fans now believe that Bully Scholarship Edition, all versions of them, are just a beta build in its own weird way. Like you have the final full version of Bully that you're playing, but dig for the files you have an entire alpha build's worth of content to scour through. This was confirmed further when data miners got into the Wii files and discovered even earlier content, which led many fans to understand why Bully Scholarship Edition was much buggier than the PS2. Because they really did use an earlier build to work with and didn't really fix many of the bugs that got ironed out in time for the PS2 release. All in all, however, despite this segment having a rather negative tone to it, Bully Scholarship Edition still did pretty well financially, and many people really did enjoy them, but people who played the original and people who played Bully on launch, or just on PC in general, just felt like it could have been handled a lot better because of how buggy it is in general. But that's pretty much the history of Bully Scholarship Edition. Thank you for watching this segment and have a great day.